You're looking at trying to go out of network, you got to have a good marketing plan. Most practices miss that, and then it's really challenging if they don't have a good marketing plan.
It gets scary. I've seen a lot of people freak out, and people online like, I canceled all my insurance. And I was like, did you up your marketing budget? We don't do any marketing. I'm like, oh, you got to replace those patients somehow. The oldest companies in the world are all insurance companies. There's a reason for that. They get paid for doing nothing, basically, is their job, right?
Yeah, just pushing paper and signing contracts. There's really two things, the trends that we're seeing.
What are some of the downsides to getting a membership plan? Welcome back to another episode of Dental Marketing Theory. I'm your host, Gary Bird. I'm the owner of SMC National, where we help offices just like yours level the playing field against the big guys out there so you can grow the way that you want, but you can't grow if insurance companies are absolutely sticking it to you and you're not making any money. And today, my guest, Jordan Comstock, CEO and founder of Boom Cloud Membership Plans, is going to share with us how you can actually use membership plans to go out of network. And this is a really, really good episode. At the end, he also shares some of the downsides, some of the things that you need to be aware of before you go into membership plans. You're not going to want to miss this one. Stay tuned. All right. So today's episode is going to be about going out of network, which is something I think pretty much every dentist wants to do. Not everybody can do it. There's a lot of nuance to it. It's not easy. But we're going to actually be hosting an event on November 15th. If you want more information on that, you can go to smcnational.com and go to our events, and it's going to be there. And I'm excited because Jordan is going to be hosting the event with us. And Jordan is the CEO and founder of Boom Cloud, who helps offices have membership plans, which is really, really important. There's some things that you have to have in place if you're going to go out of network. One of them is marketing. One of them is patient financing. One of them is having the right team and having them trained properly. One of them is being in the right market. And one of them is having a membership plan. And today, we're going to talk about the topic that he's going to be discussing just briefly. We're not going to give you all the things away because then you won't come to the event, but we'll give you some of it. Jordan, why don't you tackle this a little bit for us? Tell me a little bit about membership patients versus PPO patients and understanding the difference.
Yeah, man, it's a big deal. So we're looking at this all the time. Number one, if you're looking at trying to go out of network, you got to have a good marketing plan. Most practices miss that, and then it's really challenging if they don't have a good marketing plan.
It gets scary. I've seen a lot of people freak out, and people online like, I canceled all my insurance, and I was like, did you up your marketing budget? We don't do any marketing. I'm like, you got to replace those patients somehow.
I remember we had a client that was using Boom Cloud, and they were so frustrated with PPOs, they just ripped them all out one night. And I'm like, wait, so you don't have a plan, you're just ripping them out and then you're figuring out as you go? I guess that's a strategy, but it's a scary strategy. So, yeah, one of the big differences, when it comes to PPO patients versus membership patients, there's a massive difference. I often like talking about the ideal patient profile. This is really critical, where most practice owners don't even think about, hey, what type of patients do I want to attract?
Yeah. They think about the type of dentistry they want to do, not the type of patient that wants to do that dentistry.
Yeah, and then they go sign up for every PPO under the sun, and they get a large volume of patients that they really don't know what they're getting, right? Because it's a massive volume, and they're not super targeted. Where with marketing and membership plans, you can target the right ideal patient profile and get them in. So a big difference between a PPO patient, we're seeing that PPO patients spend roughly like $500 a year with a practice, whereas a membership patient with the right marketing strategy can spend up to $2,200 a year. It's like almost 4.5 times more revenue with that cohort of patients versus PPO patients. And then you get to unravel all the admin BS with PPOs and the frustrations and the red tape and the politics, right?
I love that. I love that data. But I think even going further than that, I think the reason that it works is because, and I would love your thoughts on this because I know this is your area of expertise, is you're aligning your incentives with the patient. So the patient is going to the dentist to be healthy. That's why they're going there, right? And the dentist is there to do dentistry. But when you put an insurance provider in the middle, Their job is to get you to spend as little as your benefits as possible. That's their job. And so they make everything super confusing, super hard. They really stick it to the patients. They stick it to the doctor. They stick it to everybody, right? The oldest companies in the world are all insurance companies. There's a reason for that. Like, because they get paid for doing nothing, basically, is their job, right?
Yeah, just pushing paper and signing contracts.
Exactly. And so they're the oldest companies in the world. They're 100 years, 120 years, 130 years old, and they make a ton of money. So when you remove the insurance from the middle, now you're not treating that insurance anymore and dealing with the insurance, you're treating the patient. But where a lot of offices get scared with this is like, I know one of the things that I've had problems with in the past with helping people do membership plans, because I think they're great, is like the administrative side of it. And I know one of the points you're going to hit on is how to make that easier actually than even dealing with PPOs.
Yeah, you want to make it easy so that you can scale it and it's actually enjoyable to have a membership plan. You don't want to turn into another PPO administration when you're managing your membership plan. On your thought of insurance companies have been around for a while. I heard this quote today that I thought was interesting. They said Vegas wasn't built on winners; it was built on losers. And insurance companies have the same model, right? It's a model built for losing, right? Reducing the pay that practices get from insurance plans. It's built for purposely having practice owners lose, right, and reduce their profit margins. So it's really an interesting model that I don't think really serves the patient or the practice very well anymore, at all.
Yeah. There's not a lot of great upside for the patient on the insurance side. And I think what's cool about membership plans, at least for me, the way I look at them as a patient, is I can build them based on what I need and what I want. And the office can also do the same, right? So again, it's one of those win-win situations, because let's be honest, patients do like the idea of insurance. They just don't realize that dental insurance isn't health insurance. It's not home insurance. It's not car insurance, right? Doctors realize it. I understand it now because I've been in the dental industry for a while.
Yeah.
It's a fake coupon. Yeah,
that's what everyone says.
It's the worst coupon in the world, right?
Yeah, it's a paid coupon, right? And we're seeing as practices start to reduce dependence on PPOs and go out of network. There's really two things that the trends that we're seeing. They have to have a marketing partner, agency, marketing coordinator within the practice. They have to have systems to help them scale their membership program. Some of the top practices that are cutting out PPOs have $1 million membership programs now, right? Because they've learned that by cutting out these PPO contracts, focusing really on a specific type of patient with a marketing company or an in-house marketing coordinator, they can find these types of patients and then reduce their contracts, which then adds more revenue to the bottom line that they can roll back in doing the same thing, find more of those patients. So
that's a great point. And then, so who shouldn't be doing in-house memberships? Is there anybody that you're like, no, this isn't right for you. It doesn't really work when these types of practices do it?
Yeah. So general dentists should be all doing a membership program and scaling it. If you're a specialty practice owner, that's a little bit harder because you don't have maintenance.
Recurring. Yeah.
You don't have maintenance, and there's nothing that can be recurring. I would also say typically startups struggle because they need to sign up on a lot of PPOs. At least that's what they've been told.
Yeah.
But they do struggle.
It's either you're either going to pay a ton of money on marketing. So like the average, not the average, but I know Heartland spends around $25,000 a month in marketing for their launches, right? And so that's a lot of money. Or you can join PPOs and pay for it on the back end, right? And it's like, so I get that. I think that these membership plans, do you think there's ever like a time where it just like, I know you said like specialty, that doesn't work.
Yeah. No.
Like who is like the prime candidate then?
Yeah, I would say maturing practices, even practices that are emerging into multi-locations or DSOs, because number one, they can use their multi-locations to better negotiate with PPOs, but then also build a robust membership program across all their locations and to all their patients, and they do really, really well with that. So really mature practice owners that could be single location docs, but you may have 2 or 3 associates working for your practice. Those really are ideal to just launch and grow a membership program and start going out of network.
What about what's the success rate of actually converting insurance patients over to these membership plans? Or is your goal just to get the uninsured and get them rolled in?
Well, both, yeah. The short term is get the uninsured in because that's low-hanging fruit, right? Long-term strategy would be to start going out of network, one PPO at a time, and trying to convert those patients over. A lot of the times during open enrollment is a great time, which usually is between like November and January. I can't remember all the dates. Open enrollment is a really good time to start talking to patients that you're out of network with to convert them to become members, because then they're thinking about their insurance plans and what they should do about them. So that's a really critical time to do switchover campaigns for your insured patients to become membership patients. That's really critical to get that honed in.
So time is a big deal.
Oh yeah, especially with open enrollment and with just the nature of the insurance industry, how it works, which is kind of silly that they're like, oh, you can only change your plan once a year during this specific time, and then you're locked in. So take advantage of that. If you have a membership plan and you're going out of network, be switching those patients as quickly as you can over to a membership plan versus just not talking about it and letting them stay on a horrible PPO plan.
What happens to a practice that figures this out, that gets the membership in place, they get their marketing squared away, they have patient financing, so patients have payment options and things like that? What happens to an office that actually figures this out and gets to the other side that everybody wants to be at, but everybody's scared of as well?
Well, they live a better life because they become more profitable and it's less stressful.
Such a good tagline. You should put that on a shirt. Your life's better.
Your life's just better, dude. Really, quality of life goes up because insurance causes a lot of pain, not just for practice owners, but for everyone on the team, right? It's a huge pain point. So it's like when you remove that and you have a very simple operation compared to working with all the administrative tasks with PPOs, everybody's happier, your team's happier, you're happier, your practice is making more profit, and you feel like you're you're the captain of the ship again, right? So that's really what happens. We have a practice that they've dropped all their PPO plans. They get ready to drop Delta Dental, and they are the coolest dudes because they're so happy. And I know they're getting ready to take a group of dentists out to on a big group like vacation where there's CE and all that, and they're talking about how they were able to cut out PPO plans, and really marketing and membership plans were a huge component of that, as well as understanding the data, right? Most practice owners don't understand the data when they're looking at their numbers, and they don't even know how much they're writing off, which is crazy to me, right? Sometimes they put their head in the sand. They're like, we know we're writing a bunch off, but we don't want to look at it because it's scary, right? The average practice, I think, writes off about $38,000 a month, which equates to over a lifetime of dentistry. That's like $18 million that they could have rolled back into reinvesting into their practice or put it into retirement and live a really healthy retirement. So it's ridiculous how much. So that's what really happens. You can retire better once you get off PPOs.
That's awesome. I love that. So what are some of the downsides to getting a membership plan? And I know this is a hard one because it's like, well, I know this is your service, but there are, to every positive, there's a negative, right? So what are the negatives? Yeah.
A lot of the times it's hard to install into the practice and scale up, right? That's probably the biggest downside, and it could be a distraction if you really don't have a good go-to-market plan with it, right? It could be a big distraction. If you're a fee-for-service doctor, already, that could be really challenging too, because you're like, well, I'm already collecting 100% of my fees, what they usually say. But what they don't really understand is they're exchanging the discounts and stuff for predictable recurring revenue, which is a good deal in my opinion. So that could be a downside for a lot of fee for service docs. They could see it as a risk or a drop in revenue for them. But
yeah,
long term,
it also works as a retention tool, right? So I would say,
yeah, the biggest problem with fee for service is they're out of network. Any patient can go down the street to any doctor that's in network, and then so retention is a big issue, and sometimes they don't like to look at those numbers either.
No, yeah, and you don't have any control because you haven't built that into your practice. The retention tool is hygiene, and it's like you're charging a bunch of money for a hygiene appointment, and their insurance, they just got a great new job, and they make a ton of money, but their insurance company reaches out and goes, "Oh, we'll give you free cleanings."
Yeah.
And it
can be challenging. So retention is a huge thing for the fee for service doctors, but that is one of the downsides for them is they feel like it is a reduction of revenue for them.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
If someone wants to reach out to you and learn more about what you guys are doing, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Yeah, go to boomcloud.com, go schedule a demo, and you could see our platform and how we help you scale your patient membership plan. And it's your plan, it's not ours, right? So we just help you scale it and give you the tools to manage it correctly.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much for coming on. Great job today. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to the event.
Yeah. Thanks, dude. Rock on.